9 in the first quarter. And as Pat Riley said, it was 40 love at that point. Miami playing uphill the rest of the way, and they couldn't make the climb. So for the Heat, the adjustment really is more mental than anything. They've got to be prepared to play right from the start.
Miami controlling the opening tip. Jason Williams, Antoine Walker. Jefferson falling off to help on O'Neal, but primarily Nets go with single coverage. They repost. Williams got the step and draws the foul. He was hit by Kidd.
Now you can see right away Miami says, we're going to play off of Shaq tonight. They go into him. He passes back out. They make New Jersey's defense react. And eventually Williams ends up at the foul line.
Jason Williams only 5 of 13 the other night, and he turned it over 4 times.
Now this is why it's so difficult to play against a Shaquille O'Neal team, because you see all 5 guys for New Jersey on a string trying to help, trying to react, trying to recover, and it puts you in a compromised position defensively. That's how Kidd ends up with the foul.
In game 1, it was Jason Williams who was able to score right at the start. And then the Nets reeled off 12 unanswered points. The Williams opens up with the 2 free throws. Jefferson kicks it out. Here's Kristich with a rainbow. And the rebound handled by Walker. Williams on the run. Haslam feeding O'Neal. They want to get him going early.
Well, that's Miami Heat basketball. Push it. If you don't have anything in transition, then set up and get the ball into O'Neal. They have to find that balance. I thought they took some quick shots in game 1, Marv, in transition that led to that frenzied pace.
Offensive foul is called. Offensive foul on the Nets. It is on Jefferson.
I think he looks pretty good considering the injury. The Nets have gone to him a couple of times here. You see the push off on Walker, but the good news for New Jersey, he's moving very, very quickly.
Here's Wade from downtown. Miami off to the good start. 7 unanswered.
It's amazing, Marv. Wade made 13 3-point field goals the entire season. The ball knocked away by Miami. But we saw him make a couple of big ones in game 6 in Chicago. He hit one in game 5. So it's as if all of a sudden he's finding the range from back there.
Kidd looking to post up. And as he made his move, foul is called on Williams. Basket will not count. Wayne Wade in the series against Chicago hit 3 of 4 from the 3-point line, and probably the sore hip made him take those shots because he was not able to take it to the basket. His mobility was limited.
Now you could really see it in game 6. Slowed his game down, kind of set up and just took that little set shot.
Here's Kristich. Yes. So the Nets on the board. Miami with a 7-2 lead. We're just underway here at American Airlines Arena. O'Neal backing Collins. Jefferson on the rebound, and Jefferson moves it across. Richard Jefferson's game is mobility, elevation, explosiveness, and let's see if he does have it, playing with that bone bruise on the right ankle. Jefferson with the shot, and Haslam let it go.
Well, Dwayne Wade ends up on Jefferson, and Miami does have the ability to switch off defensively between Antoine Walker and Wade and Posey when he's in there. So we'll see if Jefferson likes his matchup. Remember, he went right at Antoine Walker in game 1. And New Jersey has some matchups they can choose from. Jason Kidd can post up Jason Williams anytime he wants to.
Here's Wade, and Miami getting good ball movement right at the start. They've hit 3 of their first 4 shots, and they lead 9-2.
And 0 turnovers. They just look much sharper offensively. The efficiency is there, and that's controlled this pace here early on.
Here's Carter spinning, came up short. He was trying to draw contact from O'Neal, who did not go for it. Wade changed his mind. Walker shoots for 3. And here comes Kidd. It's a 3-on-2 developing. Kristich running the floor. Tapped it over to Jefferson. Not able to score. Rebounded by Walker. Wade with Collins back. Williams back to Wade, but it's off the mark. And here come the Nets. Kidd shovels to Jefferson.
Boy, Pat Riley is furious, Marv. He jumped up when Jason Williams made that lob, and those are the kinds of plays that they made in game one early that got them in trouble, and you see why, because at the other end, it results in a layup.
Pat Riley telling us earlier, until he took a look at the tape of game one, he did not realize how sloppy his team was. I mean, he had a feel for it, but he got angrier as he watched the tape. That's a defensive 3-second violation.
Yeah, it was shocking for him because I don't think he realized that there were 7 turnovers in 6 minutes. The amazing thing was, Marv, they finished with 17 turnovers. So after that first quarter, just 8 in the final 3 quarters, but they were playing from so far behind that it didn't matter. So key stat to take an eye on tonight, keep an eye on, is turnovers. And here's the first one. And New Jersey with the easy bucket at the other end, and that was the big factor in game one. New Jersey turned those 17 Miami turnovers into 24 points, and that was the difference in the game.
How about looking up at the scoreboard, and you see you're trailing at home in game one of the playoffs, 82-54, down by 28. Nice play by Carter to tip it away. One on the shot clock. Wade fires and hits the three. Carter tried to break, but Wade, after knocking down the jumper, got back. Ball knocked out of the hands of Carter. Sloppy start by the Nets. Williams kept it alive. Here's Wade stepping back for three. Wade putting on a three-point shooting festival here at the start in Miami with a 16-4 lead. Wade has hit 4 of 4. 3 from downtown. He has scored 11 points in under 4 minutes of play.
Well, the key for New Jersey is to keep Wade out of the paint, at least according to Lawrence Frank. Maybe that should change now. Maybe they have to go out and guard him at the three-point line because he suddenly became Steve Nash.
Today's Gatorade Around the Cooler report. Here's David Aldridge.
Well, guys, Richard Jefferson made up his mind just before tip-off that he was going to play. 90 minutes before tip-off, he did change of direction drills, jumping drills. Thought his ankle felt much better. He talked with athletic trainer Tim Walsh and strength coach Rich Delatry, but they left the final decision up to Jefferson. He said if this was a regular season game, he probably would have sat it out. But after he got the boot taken off this morning, it felt much better. He said it just feels so much different compared to 36 hours ago, guys.
All right, thank you, David. Here comes Jason Williams. And Miami turning the tables on the Nets, who were in front 12-2 in the early moments of the first quarter the other night. And it's an 18-4 Miami lead. Jefferson passed on a three, and he's called for a traveling violation.
Well, how about the numbers from the three-point line, Marv? 3 of 4 for Miami so far, thanks to Wade's 3 three-pointers. 4 for 22 in game one, so they've completely turned it around from the outside.
And the 3 three-pointers for Wade, a career playoff high for a game. Jason Williams from downtown.
Just the focus. I mean, you can see this group has come out with an intensity, a purpose that was non-existent in the series opener.
The Heat has hit 7 of 9 shots, and the call against the Nets. It's falling apart here in the first quarter for the Nets, and this is what occurred at the Miami end on Monday night as Kristich was called for the foul, and that's turnover number 4 for New Jersey.
Well, you want to weather the storm, that's the idea, but down 17 already, you wonder if New Jersey can find their way back into this thing.
Wade again. He's hit all 5 of his shots. He has 13. Miami 23, the Nets 4. Here's Collins, rebounded by Walker. The Nets are completely out of their offense. Haslam, yes. It gets worse and worse for the Nets. Lawrence Frank takes a 20-second timeout. So with 6:09 remaining in this first quarter, Miami with a 25-4 lead, and I guess you'd have to say the Heat came out looking like they're ready.
I guess so. I mean, but if these two games did epitomize the Miami Heat, I mean, last game just terrible, tonight on fire. It's the way it's been all season for Miami, up and down. You don't know which team to expect, but Dwayne Wade came out on fire, really setting the tone, measuring the three-point shot there, and then when Vince Carter pokes the ball away, shot clock running down, he hits the fadeaway, foot almost on the line. Then in transition, he figures, why not? Heat check. Knocks down another one. Wade with 13 points, has not missed a shot yet.
16 unanswered for Miami. So they have reeled off 16 consecutive points. We're halfway through the first quarter. Jefferson met by the double team. Haslem came over to help. Here's Carter. Kristich with the rebound. Kristich is fouled by O'Neal.
Well, much better activity defensively on that possession than anything we saw in game one, Marv. We saw the help on Jefferson. The Miami players know that Antoine Walker is at a disadvantage guarding the quick Jefferson, so they come over, they help, and then they recover, flying to the ball, but Kristich eventually ends up with the offensive board.
Maynard Kristich had a solid series against Indiana, averaged 18 a game. He's been so successful with pick and pops, taking advantage of a host of open opportunities. In foul trouble in game one against Miami. Hit 5 of 8, had 11 points. Excellent season for Kristich, who has not only made strides from last year, but from the All-Star break on. 25-6, Miami. O'Neal powers his way. O'Neal with the rebound and a foul. Shaq will head to the line. Foul on Jason Collins. That is his first.
Well, early on, Marv, you can see that O'Neal has made the adjustment that Pat Riley wanted him to after game one. He's not lowering that shoulder on the spin move into Collins. He's turning away from Collins instead and trying to find that little jump hook, that little, not the jump hook, but the little spin and then the layup. And this is where he's a killer. Remember in game 6 in Chicago, every time the Bulls forced a miss from O'Neal, he'd just grab the offensive rebound, knock it down. He gets the free throw to go. Second shot opportunities for O'Neal. There's not much he can do about this.
Kid trying to back his way and then pumps it out. It opens it up for Kristich, but he's been off. Wade with the one bounce pass. Haslem had a turn and lost it. Now Jefferson in the open floor. Hand it to Kristich and they'll have to reset. Carter being played by Haslem. Kristich reaching in and a loose ball foul is called.
Now it's a break for Miami because New Jersey had the advantage, and at the offensive end, another risky pass. We've seen 2 of them now, and it's imperative for Miami to not take unnecessary gambles. You saw the one-hand pass from Wade to Haslem. That's a power forward running on the break, a tough pass to handle. So Miami would be very wise if they don't have the advantage. Be patient, pull the ball out, throw it into the big fella.
Second on Kristich, takes a seat, and the veteran Clifford Robinson has checked in. Robinson with Collins and Jefferson on the front line. Collins dealing with O'Neal, and here is O'Neal.
See the little pump fake? I mean, we haven't seen much of that. Looks like Shaq's going back to the repertoire from his glory years. He looks quicker, a little more active tonight. And just that little show of the ball got Collins off balance.
Here's Kidd. He got the step and the foul. Jason Kidd with a beautiful move and was hit from behind. Looked to be O'Neal. It is. That's his second.
That's a big play. I mean, it's a 20-point game, but you know, Miami has to have O'Neal on the floor. We've seen a lot of these fouls from Shaq, helping on the perimeter. There's so many screen and rolls. You see, he gets Kidd on the head. He'll go to the bench. The difference here, 20-point lead. They've come off with some firepower. They're playing well, so now Alonzo comes in, and you have a little leeway to work with.
Alonzo Mourning hearing it from the crowd as he comes on for Shaquille O'Neal. Alonzo has been used sparingly, only 7 minutes on the floor the other night in game one as he makes it back from that injured calf. 3-point play for Jason Kidd. Let's check in with David Aldridge.
Guys, I have never seen Shaquille O'Neal so uncertain about how to play with the officiating. And it's gotten the attention of Pat Riley. He thinks his team in general has just done too much complaining about the officiating. He told them this morning, stop it. It's not them, it's us. Stop being the victim, guys.
And he also had that to say during the series against the Bulls, and he's been telling Shaquille O'Neal, you have to adjust to the officiating. Robinson way off, but rebounded by Kidd. And the Nets have the new shot clock. Walker switching off to Kidd. Here's Robinson, has the mismatch and lost the dribble. Wade on the run. Wade all the way.
Well, with Shaq on the bench now, Vaughn, that changes the offensive philosophy for Miami. They can take some more gambles in transition and really attack the rim since they don't have O'Neal to fall back on.
Wade is 6 for 7. He has 15 points. Jason Kidd was able to break out after the poor shooting series against the Indiana Pacers. The other night hit his first 6 shots, finished with 22 points. Miami takes a timeout. 3:12 left in the first. And Miami off to a fast start. They lead it 30-11. Spark by Dwayne Wade.
But 5 times now we've seen the Heat in the playoffs, Marvin. What struck me is that the recent rules changes the last few years have really hurt O'Neal, and it's at both ends of the floor. You take a look at some of the fouls that he's picked up. A lot of it has to do with that new restricted arc area. Take a look at this one. Jefferson drives in. Look at Shaq's feet. A few years ago, that arc didn't exist. This might not have been a foul. How about the hand check rule? You see Wade on Carter here. You're not allowed to put a hand on guys anymore, so perimeter players are getting to the rim a little easier. Well, Shaq's the guy who's the second line of defense. He finds himself in difficulty. Tonight, his second foul comes on a screen and roll. This is what teams have always tried to do with Shaq. Get him out high. He has to react. And there's the foul. So you think about the way the rules have changed. How about the zone at the offensive end for Shaq? That's hurt him as well. It's been a tough time for him the last couple of years.
Morning way off. Haslem is tied up. Good play by Robinson. James Posey has come on for Miami, replacing Antoine Walker. Steve, you go back to the days of George Mikan, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. All 3 big men faced major rules changes that kept them in check. And there were changes designed to level the field, because had they not made those rules, those guys would have dominated.
Right. It's always the big man.
Even more so, I should say, than they did.
Yeah, and Shaq has pointed that out. He says, the rules have been legislated against me. And think about the zone now. People are playing in front of and behind him. It used to be with the illegal defense rule, you couldn't double team Shaq until he got the ball. So he could make a quicker move to the basket and get right to the rim and score. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's loaded up against him. So these have been difficult adjustments for Shaq to make. And then on top of that, he's aged.
Carter gets inside. Strong move by Vince Carter. He draws the foul. So Vince to the line. Foul on Alonzo Mourning. Lawrence Frank making another substitution. John Thomas, 5-year man from the University of Minnesota. Played well the other night against Shaquille O'Neal. Has replaced Jason Collins. And now Jacques Vaughn will come on, providing rest for Jason Kidd. You look at John Thomas. Here's a guy who was unemployed 3 weeks ago. Game 1 of the semifinal series. He played 16 minutes. And as I said, did a nice job in holding his own against Shaq. Also had a bucket. He had 5 rebounds. He grew up overseas. His dad was a professional basketball player, so John spent time in Finland and Turkey. Nets his 6th NBA team, originally a #1 draft pick out of the University of Minnesota. #1 pick of the Knicks. John is also the part owner of an interactive music video website.
Pretty amazing story. I mean, and he was one of the keys to that victory, no question. The Nets sent multiple defenders at O'Neal, and Thomas did as good a job as anybody.
Mourning gets to the rebound and draws the foul. Foul on Robinson.
You talked about it earlier, Marv. It's been a difficult adjustment for Mourning coming back from that calf injury. He's just not been able to find that rhythm, and you can see it in every aspect of his game, not just the shooting, but setting screens. He's been late on the screens. In the Chicago series, he picked up numerous offensive fouls for screen setting. Shot blocking hasn't been there. It's tough to come back from an injury like that and expect to have your rhythm, especially in the playoffs when the intensity level has picked up.
Although Pat Riley said Mourning told him about 4 weeks ago he was ready.
yeah, and the level of conditioning that he keeps himself in, you can understand why Zoe feels like he's ready, but there's nothing like game shape.
And we're talking about a guy who's also made it back from a kidney transplant. Shot clock down to 6. Robinson is fouled. Run into by Mourning. That'll put Robinson at the line for Miami, their 15th foul. 2 shots for Clifford Robinson and 2 on Mourning. So Pat Riley takes a long walk in front of his bench. He has Shaq with 2, and he has Mourning with 2. Michael Doliak may be checking in very shortly. A reminder, national television coverage of the NBA Conference semifinals continues this week. In fact, coming up next right here on TNT, Game 2 between the Clippers and the Suns. And Friday on ESPN, pair of Game 3s featuring the Heat and the Nets from New Jersey, followed by the Suns and the Clippers. And Saturday on ABC, Game 3 of the Spurs and the Mavericks.
Well, how entertaining was that Clippers-Suns game the other night? Just amazing. Elton Brand, 18 for 22, 40 points. They shoot 59%, and they lose. Incredible.
And at halftime, Brand was 10 of 13. He had 23 points. Steve Nash said, I think he was trying to get them to change the MVP vote at halftime. There's Mourning around Thomas and a foul. Basket will not count. That puts the Nets over the foul limit. There's Thomas committing the foul and Mourning back at the line.
That's ironic, Marv. We talked before this game about the importance of Miami containing New Jersey, taking care of the ball so that they could control the tempo. Well, it's been the opposite story here. New Jersey with 5 turnovers that have resulted in 13 Miami points, and it's the Heat that have really excelled in transition.
Alonzo only a 59% free throw shooter during the season. In his 13th year out of Georgetown, 7-time All-Star, 2-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year, and a key guy off the bench in terms of providing energy and strong defensive play during the regular season. Just under 2 minutes left in this opening quarter. Here's Jacques Vaughn. That's only 4 of 15 from the field. Williams nowhere to go. He passed to Posey out of bounds.
Yeah, a little bit overzealous in transition, and it's the second time we've seen that with Williams. The first on that lob, Pat Riley visibly upset on the bench. I think he's going to go to Gary Payton here for Williams. But for the Miami Heat, it's a fine line where they want to run, they want to attack, but they've got to be under control as well, especially when Shaq's out on the floor.
Foul committed by Posey. Miami over the limit, so that'll put Carter at the line as Payton works his way to the scorer's table, and he will come on. Story in this first quarter for the Heat. At the offensive end, Dwayne Wade, 6 of 7, 15 points, 3 from downtown.
There's a lot of talk after game 1 that perhaps Wade was tired from chasing Vince Carter around for much of the night. Did not make a field goal in the fourth quarter. You see here early, James Posey now guarding Vince Carter. Pat Riley told Wade, look, you got to battle Carter, especially the first 4 or 5 minutes. Be physical with him, set the tone, and then we can get into our rotation. We can put different people on him, but I really want you to play hard on him early on, and it hasn't affected his offense. 15 points on 6 of 7 field goal shooting.
Although Wade had a good first half on Monday and then felt he did not see the ball enough in the second half.
Yeah, I think it was circumstantial. You know, they were battling back, trying to get the ball into Shaq and kind of scrambling. And I think you'll see the ball in his hands much more tonight in the second half.
Now being played by Lamont Murray, who just came on. There's Payton for three. Miami is on fire from three-point territory. They've hit 5 of 7.
One more field goal than they hit in game 1 from beyond the arc when they were 4 of 22.
Miami up by 20. Just the final minute of the first quarter. The Heat looking to tie the series at 1. They head back to Continental Airlines Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey on Friday night for game 3. Game 4 Sunday in New Jersey. Traveling violation called on Lamont Murray, and that is turnover number 6 for the Nets.
I remember Lawrence Frank before the game told us, look, we can't approach this like this is game 2 and we're down and we're up 1-0. We've got to approach it like we're down. We have to match Miami's intensity and their energy and their sense of urgency. Well, I don't think they've done so.
Yes, and the foul. No, this has been all Miami. Role reversal from what we saw here on Monday night.
How about 13 of 19 shooting now for Miami? The beautiful feed. You see the high screen and roll. Haslam seeing the opening, rolling to the bucket, and Wade finds him.
Foul on Thomas. That is his second. So 39 points for Miami against a team that prides itself at the defensive end.
Well, turnover's the story, and that was the case in reverse the other night. Turn the ball over, you compromise your defense, there's not much you can do.
Posey all over Carter, who fires for 3. Vince Carter stepping back, eluding Posey, and hits the 3. So Miami now leads 39-19. Final seconds of the first. Wade putting it between his legs. And scores! That's a 2-pointer. Wade with a spectacular first quarter. 7 of 8. 17 points. Miami overwhelming New Jersey. After 1, they lead it 41-19.
I think, that confident, calm demeanor that he has, he knows what he's talking about. He's not just saying something. So he's one of the most experienced coaches, especially in the playoffs. One of the most games, I think, him and Phil Jackson in the playoffs ever. So, we got to listen to our leader, see what he's saying, and go out there and execute his game plan.
Wayne Wade on the subject of his head coach and president of the team, Pat Riley, who is a bit more laid back than we saw in his days as head coach of the Lakers. And the Knicks, as Carter sends up an air ball to open up this second quarter, and Miami with a 41-19 advantage. 41 points is a playoff franchise high for Miami. Most points in a quarter in the postseason. Wade with a rare miss, but kept alive by Haslam. Here's Posey for 3. And Wade deflects it out.
Oh, he talked about Pat Riley and whether he had prepared his team tonight or not. I'd say he has. Look at the numbers compared to game 1. He blamed himself for the team's poor performance in the opener, but I think it was just a complete lack of focus on their part. Lamont Murray knocks down the 3, but they've come out with an edge tonight, Marvin. I'm always struck in the playoffs. You look at what Dallas did last night in San Antonio. The emotional edge that comes from losing a playoff game, it's a powerful force.
Steve, you've been around coaches who blame themselves. Don't you? Oh, look out. That's a jump ball as Mourning and Collins got involved. Don't you feel a coach just trying to clean the slate and say, all right, it's not you, it's me.
It's me.
Yeah,
it's not
course.
you. This is me. Well, what are they going to do? I mean, are they going to say, well, it's the team's fault? I mean, those guys stunk the other night.
Right.
It's the right thing to do as a coach, but you better believe that in his younger days, Riley would have been much more verbal and demonstrative with his team. I'm sure Magic Johnson could tell you something about that. There was mention the other day of the Memorial Day Massacre. Remember the Lakers,
Yes.
Boston? They lost 148 to, I believe it was 114 in the opener of the finals. Peyton knocks down the 17-footer. Riley said, no comparison. He said that was a different time, and I think his demeanor has changed dramatically since then.
Riley guiding the Lakers to 4 NBA titles in the Showtime era. Took over earlier this season for Stan Van Gundy, who brought this club to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final. That's a 3-second violation. The basket will not count. So the ball back to Miami. Shaquille O'Neal will check back in. Coming on for Alonzo Mourning. Good run for Mourning, although he has 2 fouls, as does O'Neal. Gary Payton at the point. Antoine Walker is back. And Derek Anderson has come on for the first time. Posey played by Murray. Here's Anderson for 3. And the good box out by Robinson.
Boy, Derek Anderson did that in Game 1 too. Remember, he checks in, takes a shot right away. He did it again here. You got to get loose a little bit.
Kidd way off. And Carter was pushed by Anderson.
Well, I think the rest of this half, the rest of the game for Miami, Marv, is about taking care of the ball, controlling tempo, because remember, this is not an explosive New Jersey team. They only averaged 94 points a game. That was 24th in the NBA. They shot 44% on the year. It's not a great three-point shooting club. This is just about being solid with the ball, with your execution, keeping the game in the half court, making New Jersey beat you like that from long range.
Richard Jefferson, that's a 2-pointer. His foot was on the line. And for Richard, it was a question mark for tonight because of that bone bruise in his right ankle. That's the second field goal. He has 5 points. 43-24. Miami. We're early in the second. Marv Albert with Steve Kerr and David Aldridge. O'Neal powers his way, and he's fouled, hit by Collins. What a postseason run it's been for Jason Collins. He needed 3 stitches on his lip, 3 stitches on his chin in the series against the Pacers. And the cut on his chin reopened Monday night. Needed 2 more stitches. And then once again having to tangle with Shaquille O'Neal, who's now 1 of 3 at the line. Actually, Shaq 8 of 14 at the line on Monday night, which is on fire.
I think he'll continue to get to the line if he keeps making moves like that. He didn't turn into Collins again. You can see the adjustment he made. He went underneath Collins, and that's what Shaquille O'Neal has decided to do here tonight. Smart move by him. He's no longer turning with that elbow high.
Miami up by 20. 41-point opening quarter. The Nets with only 5 field goals, just 5 of 16 in the first quarter. Antoine Walker able to break it up. Nets now have Kidd and Carter in the backcourt with Jefferson, Murray, and Collins up front. Batted away, and ball will be given back to the Nets. Posey was out of bounds as he dove for the ball, and a timeout is taken. Shade over 3 minutes gone by in this second quarter. Oh, beautiful sunset, Steve.
Gorgeous.
Miami by 20. I feel serene, you know. Here's Jay-Z, minority owner of the Nets. Eamon Stoudemire of the Memphis Grizzlies, doing some work for NBA TV. From the Miami Heat Hall of Fame, Ronnie Cycling. And Glenn Rice taking in the action. And your former teammate and fellow broadcaster, Scottie Pippen, and his wife Larson.
Star-studded crowd. And who was the guy in the green shirt next to Jay-Z? I would have preferred Beyonce, but
we'll have to check it out.
You know, we'll get David on that.
We'll send a staff member over. Here's Collins. So Jason Collins for the Nets, and Miami now leads at 44-26. On Monday night in Game 1, the Nets went right at the Heat. They had 12 straight points. They led 12-2. They led by as many as 28. And a turnabout here tonight on the part of the Heat as Anderson able to hit from downtown. Miami is now 6 of 10 from beyond that three-point line. Dwayne Wade with 3 of the threes in the first quarter. Here's Carter. And the whistle by Tim Donahue. Foul is called. A loose ball foul on Anderson.
He pushed off, but important play there from Shaquille O'Neal, who has 2 fouls. He took a better angle on Carter. That's a play where he's been picking up his 3rd or 4th fouls in the first half, and numerous playoff games where he's picking up drivers and leaning into them. He went away from the body of Carter, and that forced a difficult shot and allowed him to avoid the foul.
Jefferson sets it up for Collins, and he's fouled. Nice pass from Jefferson, and Collins will go to the line. That's 3, a quick 3 on Derek Anderson. Says here on the card, Steve, like the Swallows returning to Capistrano. Steve Wonders has also returned to TNT Overtime Playoffs 06. Log on to NBA.com or AOL.com/NBA. Download the latest edition of Steve Wonders.
That's well written. The Swallows returning to Capistrano. I don't really know what that means, but we'll go with it.
You know, it brings us an intellectual capacity.
That's why I don't know what it means.
20-point Miami lead. Single coverage again on O'Neal, and a defensive 3-second violation is called. It's on Jacques Vaughn.
Well, Marv, the game changes when Shaq is out there in so many ways. The first way we saw it tonight was the early 3-pointers. And Miami, 6 of 10 already. We just saw one from Derek Anderson where the New Jersey defense collapsed inside, surrounded Shaq. That allowed Anderson the wide open look. They didn't have any of those the other night. And here's where you see it as well. A defensive 3-second call. Everybody so concerned with O'Neal that you get the weak side help standing in the lane.
Miami now with Wade and Williams in the backcourt. Here's Wade. Dwayne Wade is 8 of 10. He has 19 points. Good job by Posey on Jefferson. Jefferson shooting over Posey.
Boy, he has been so good in these playoffs. He had 31 points or 30 points, I believe, in Game 6 of that Indiana series. Shot 10 for 13. How about the half of a game that he played the other night? Amazing. His shooting has improved dramatically the last couple of years.
O'Neal, nice head fake, but came up short. Kid met by Walker. Murray from straight away from downtown. And it's tipped to Walker.
That's smart. No advantage. Pull it out. Go into the big fella and continue to control the tempo.
Walker for 3. Miami with its 7th three-pointer. 7 of 11 from beyond the three-point line. And they now lead by 24 with 6.5 to play in this first half.
Welcome back to Miami with the Heat up 24. Let's take a look at the effect Shaquille O'Neal can have on a game even without touching the ball. You see Jason Williams handling. Richard Jefferson right here, very aware of Shaquille's presence on the block. So Williams waits until Jefferson clears just a bit. He doesn't have it, but look how far he has to go. Jefferson to react to Walker. Jefferson still cheating down O'Neal. That gives Walker the wide open look, and now Miami 7-11 of 11 from 3. Shaq doesn't even touch the ball, but he basically makes the play.
Miami opened up with a playoff record 41 points in the first quarter. Jason Kidd. So the Heat now leads 53-31. Wade and Williams in the backcourt. O'Neal is up front with Posey and Walker. Walker. See Kidd probing and then pulled it back. Now posting as he drew the double team. Shooting it over Williams. O'Neal with the rebound.
And Miami's perfectly happy to give Jason Kidd that shot. I know he has been hot in this series, but nobody touches the ball. They react to the double team. He still shoots, and not much of a possession for the Nets.
And how about Dwayne Wade putting it behind the back, pulling it back, and then goes to the fadeaway. His 9th field goal, 9 of 11, 21 points. He averaged 27 a game during the regular season, 5th in the NBA, along with 7 assists. Posey taking it away from Jefferson. Collins looks to tie it up, and finally they get the call.
Well, Marv, it has been a display of shooting from Wade, and now we get a timeout called before the jump ball from Ronnie Garrettson.
Well, apparently they say that Posey did call the timeout, so we'll take a break.
Now Dwayne Wade unconscious here tonight. 21 points on 9 of 11 shooting here in the first half. He has yet to make a trip to the free throw line. New Jersey very conscious of cutting off his penetration. And when he makes these shots, there's nothing you can do. He has been absolutely unstoppable here tonight.
Coming up on 5 minutes to play in the first half. Miami with a 24-point lead. Wade once again goes to the fade. This time came up short, and the foul is called on the Nets. Tim Donahue says, stay right here. On Collins, that is number 3 on Collins, and the 4th team foul on New Jersey. And Nenad Krstić will come on, as will Vince Carter and Clifford Robinson. So Lawrence Frank making wholesale changes.
Well, he'd love to get this lead down at least to a somewhat manageable deficit, but down 24. This is about making stops, and now Cliff Robinson has a tough job on his hands.
Well, Shaq had what he wanted. Great position. Here comes Kidd. Walker able to stop him. Carter facing the double and is fouled by Walker.
Crowd wanted to travel, but Tim Donahue gets the foul called first. I think it was a good call, and now New Jersey will have it out on the side. They've got to get something going here, Marv. It's become such a half-court game, and we talked about their offensive struggles this season. Not a great scoring team. They've got to get something in transition.
Vince Carter felt he was fouled, and I would think it will be all Vince Carter at this point. He has lit up Miami during the regular season, but he is the offense, in particular against the Heat, and you can see he's drawing double teams. Williams got it off and drew the foul. Carter to this point just 2 of 7 with 9 points, but as we have seen time and time again, capable of getting to the free throw line and slowing the game down. Let's check in with David Aldridge. David?
Well, Steve, you mentioned before that Shaquille O'Neal was trying to do different things on defense, and that's exactly what Gary Payton was talking about this morning. He said the problem with Shaq's fouls are not the offensive ones he's picking up, but the defensive ones. He said Shaq has got to pick his spots in terms of when to foul defensively, and that's how he's going to stay on the floor. It's not the offensive fouls that are a problem. It's when he picks up those cheap defensive ones, guys.
Well, and you saw the example right there on that replay. Rather than try to take a charge, Shaq backs off. And yes, Carter gets the basket, but much more importantly, O'Neal stays on the floor and still has just 2 fouls.
Udonis Haslem is back, replacing Antoine Walker. Miami now leads 56-33. Once again, the ball in the hands of Carter. And the whistle is away from the ball as Williams got involved with Kidd, and that puts Miami over the limit. So Jason Kidd will go to the foul line, and we'll step out for a moment. Let's see what's coming to TNT.
So, who would make a better paramedic, Shaq or LeBron?
LeBron. He'd get there quicker.
Yeah, but Shaq could lift a stretcher with one arm.
Good point.
I know.
Catch the new original series Save starting June 12th on TNT.
Back in Miami, Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, David Aldridge. 4:10 left in this first half. Jason Kidd hitting both free throws. Miami now leads by 21. O'Neal making his move on Robinson. When he gets that deep, there's no way he can be stopped.
No way, especially with Cliff Robinson giving up so much weight. He got a help earlier. Once he gets going on that dribble, somebody for New Jersey has to come. You can't leave Robinson on an island.
Here's Kidd. That was a three-point attempt, rebounded by Haslem. Wade for O'Neal. Will it count? The officials discussing that play. Dan Crawford, who is the outside referee, and Tim Donahue on the baseline.
Well, this is a perfect example of, it's the bucket will not count. But we're going to take a look. This is a perfect example of how these two have teamed up to form this partnership. O'Neal had his eye on Wade the entire way. They made eye contact. Wade with a beautiful feed, but the bucket will not count.
Foul was charged to Kidd, and it's a non-shooting foul. It occurred before the lob landed on the hand of O'Neal. Basket did not count. Fourth team foul on the Nets. Here's Haslem, way off. Jefferson met by Posey with help. See Haslem coming over. Look out. Kidd fired it, I thought, to Pat Riley.
He
who
was
couldn't
open.
believe it.
He was open, but he didn't come towards the pass, and as a result, he goes out of bounds.
I think Pat was stunned.
Kidd had two guys open on the weak side as a result of that overload defense on Jefferson. And he picked the guy in the middle with the suit on.
Well, Pat had a pretty good jumper. I don't know from that angle, though. Shot clock down to 6. O'Neal. And the foul on the Nets. Shaquille O'Neal so effective here in this first half. Foul is charged to Jefferson. Nets are over the foul limit.
Well, Jason Kidd with the ball. You got, let's see, Carter, Robinson. No, I'll throw it to Riley. Bad move.
Now Carter fires. Wade splits through. Flashback to a year ago, the Heat sweeping the Nets in the first round of the postseason, taking all 4 games. Miami averaged just under 110 points per game. But one of the big factors in that series, Steve, Eddie Jones, now with Memphis, did an excellent job containing Vince Carter. Carter shot only 36% in the 4 games, 37 to be precise. I didn't carry the 6.
Okay, gotcha.
And averaged just under 27 a game. And during the regular season, the Nets this year won 3 of 4 against Miami, led by Vince Carter. Had a 51-point game, a triple-double. His numbers 32, 51, 28, and 43. And that's why we're seeing double teams almost every time Vince touches the ball.
And don't forget, last year Richard Jefferson had just returned. I think he missed 47 games with that wrist ligament injury. Kristich with the miss. So this is a different New Jersey team. We talked to Lawrence Frank before the game. He said, last year we were just happy to get into the playoffs. This year we have an entire body of work, a deeper confidence coming into the playoffs.
Well, this and that team that had 2 long win streaks, a 14-game winning streak and a 10-game winning streak. They went 49-33, third seed in the East, and they're facing the number 2 seed, the Miami Heat. Here's Robinson with an open shot. He's been off. Kristich able to race it down, and Carter keeps it alive. They have the new shot clock. The net shooting has been awful here in this first half. Just 11 of 30 from the field. Kristich rebounded by Haslem. And you look at the Nets, and we're seeing the same look on their faces that we saw on Miami's faces in the first half the other night. It's like they're a disheartened group.
Sort of dazed and confused. That might have been a goaltend. The crowd thinks so. But this is what New Jersey has not been able to do tonight. Carter with a transition hoop. Nothing has come easy for the Nets. And that's a direct result of Miami taking much better care of the basketball and their offensive efficiency. And Shaq now on the bench. Marv Riley does not want him to pick up his third before the halfway mark.
Here's Wade extending and called for the offensive foul. Ball back to the Nets for Miami. The first turnover they've committed in over 12 minutes, which is very impressive. Let's check in with Ernie Johnson back in our Atlanta studios. Ernie? Thanks, Ernie. He's killing you, Steve.
As usual. It doesn't even faze me anymore.
Foul on Wade, his second. So Kristich to the free throw line. Yes, this is the first of our TNT doubleheader. Suns and Clippers from the Valley of the Sun coming up next. Game 1 on Monday night, a shootout. Phoenix winning 130 to 123. Suns shoot 55%. Clippers at 59%.
It's unbelievable to watch. And it seems like every game the Suns play is just incredibly entertaining. That Lakers series was just stunning in every aspect. And now they pick it up and go right at the Clippers. And just one fast break hoop after another three, after a transition basket. It's pretty amazing to watch.
Steve Nash, 31 points, 12 assists. We talked earlier about the game by Elton Brand. He goes 18 for 22 for 40 points. Walker had nowhere to go. Played well by Robinson. And now Kidd will push it. Miami does get back. Carter met by Anderson, finding Kristich, and he's fouled by Posey.
Now you see Miami loading up their defense. We've seen it both on Jefferson and Carter. That means the weak side coming over to the strong side and kind of zoning up, forcing Carter to get rid of the ball, and he finds Kristich.
Second foul committed by Posey. And Nenad Kristich has been off his game here in the first half. When the Nets are successful, they need three of their guys to come up in the scoring column. The big three had become the big four during the regular season.
Yeah, slow start here in game 2 for Kristich, just 1 of 5 shooting. Had a decent game in game 1, 11 points, 5 for 8, but just 1 rebound. He hasn't had the same impact that he had a year ago. Remember, he had that big series against Shaq, averaged 18 points. They got O'Neal in those screen and rolls involving Kristich, and he'd step away and hit the jumper. But Miami doing a better job tonight of rotating their defense to find Kristich.
Miami by 20. They've led by as many as 25. 2-second differential between the game clock and shot clock. Anderson leaves it for Walker. Shoots a set shot from downtown. And here comes Jefferson. Pulls it up for 3. Halftime here at American Airlines Arena. in Miami. And an outstanding comeback by the Heat. The other night, trailing by as many as 28. They were blown out by the Nets in game 1. But led by Dwayne Wade, who hit 9 of 13 for 21 points, including 3 from downtown. The Heat with a 20-point advantage. Let's go to David and Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne, I'd say that's a little bit of different first quarter than you had in game 1.
Yeah, well, we came out very strong. We came out with intentions to attack, but most importantly, defensively, so it helped us out.
Your three-point shooting was really going there. Did you know that was going to happen, or was it just a feel thing?
No, you don't know what's going to happen. I was just stepping into the shots that they was giving me. I was wide open, so, I decided to shoot them. I've been working on them, so I decided to shoot them, and they went in.
Dwayne, thanks very much. We'll see you in the second half.
All right, Dave.
All right. The Heat lead by 20, 60-40. Let's join Ernie Johnson and the gang in our Atlanta studios. EJ.
Back in Miami, Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, David Aldridge. It's been all Heat in the first half. They're up by 20 as we get ready for the start of the third quarter. And Steve, as the guys touched on in the studio, Miami came out with great energy, much intensity at the defensive end. What is a desperation game for Miami?
Well, when you combine that energy with really good offensive execution, then you got a lethal combination. Just 5 turnovers for the Heat, and what that meant was they were back in position defensively, and they combined that with the energy, and it was over. I mean, terrific offensive execution, and the guys in the studio said it, the sense of urgency, you can tell who wants this game more.
Now let's take a look at the numbers. The Jeep game summary. Nets shooting only 36%. They've hit 12 to 33, while Miami at 20 of 40, including 7 from downtown. And Miami has handled the ball very well. Only 1 turnover in the second quarter. As they say, taking care of the basketball. And the Heat got right to it. At the start, they hit 9 of their first 11. They went on a 16-0 run. They led 25-4 midway through the first quarter. Here is Jefferson. Richard Jefferson, who was a question mark coming into tonight because of that bone bruise, rolled his right ankle early third quarter on Monday night. His game revolves around quickness and elevation, explosion. Is Haslam wide open. Miscommunication defensively on the part of the Nets. And obviously Richard Jefferson is not the same guy that we see because of that ankle injury, but he's game giving it a shot here tonight.
I think all things considered, he looks pretty good as Kristich gets one to go underneath Shaq. But I think what you can see with Jefferson is that he's not quite as demonstrative with his moves. He's been playing so well. Everything has a purpose and an intent. Looked a little bit gun shy in the first half.
O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal has been outstanding. Bouncing back from the other night. The numbers weren't bad, but it's kind of artificial because many of them were scored during garbage time when this one was settled. Although Miami did make that late run. Collins called for the foul. Let's check in with David Aldridge. David?
Well, Lawrence Frank said at the half that his team did not respond in character the way they normally respond after teams press them a little bit. He said that the Miami press really got to his team, and they turned the ball over much too much in that first half when they got that great thrust. He said the only goal now is really to try to get it under 10 points going into the fourth quarter, guys.
All right, David, 9 turnovers committed by the Nets. Good for 18 points by Miami. Again, the Heat able to repost, and here is O'Neal. O'Neal with the rebound and the foul. If it's Collins, it'll be number 5. Shaq was surrounded by Collins, Carter, and Kristich, and it is Collins. That's his 5th.
Well, remember after Game 6 in Chicago, Shaq said he talked to his father And he said, he told me to play the finesse game instead of the power game. Well, that's what he's doing tonight. You can see every post move, he's trying to go around Collins. He's not going through him. And there's the man Shaq likes to call Sarge, Phil Harrison, his father. And O'Neal has been terrific. I think he's made the adjustment tonight. We heard Kenny Smith talk about how the refs have sort of taken him out of the game, but this is what you have to do, adjust to the calls. And I think it's part of the game. If you can't get to the hoop, you got to make a jump hook. You got to turn around and make a jump shot. And I think Shaq looks much more creative offensively tonight.
Carter off the mark, gets it to Jefferson, shoots the three. Williams with the rebound. Shaq on the run. Went to the pull-up, and it's deflected out. Last touch by O'Neal.
Oh, he almost got another offensive rebound, and that's a lethal weapon for O'Neal. If he gets the ball near the hoop and just puts it on the rim, not too many people are going to keep him from getting that second one.
Carter fouled by Wade. May have been Williams got him first. Let's see. Now it's Williams, not Wade. Apparently Jason got a piece of Vince Carter, who will go to the line. He's 4 of 4 at the foul line.
Well, that Collins fifth foul is a big one, Marv, because New Jersey's defense is really a half-court defense that's anchored by Collins. They're not a team that's going to get out and make a lot of steals, but they'll wear you down defensively. But without Collins, now all of a sudden you've got the smaller Kristich and Clifford Robinson, maybe John Thomas having to come in and cover Shaquille O'Neal.
Robinson coming on for Collins. Miami up by 21. This is game 2 of the Eastern Conference semifinal best of 7 matchup of the 2nd seed and the 3rd seed in the East. Games 3 and 4 in New Jersey. Friday night and then Sunday afternoon. Haslam set up beautifully.
What a gorgeous offensive possession for Miami. New Jersey came out in a little bit of a trap. Miami moves the ball side to side. They get it to O'Neal up high, and with the floor spread, Wade gets the penetration.
And an offensive foul on Kristich.
Now take a look at how sharp Miami has been all night with their execution. Shaq to Wade, the penetration, and the floor is so spread. And all 5 Miami Heat players touched it on that possession. That makes New Jersey's defense react, and it puts them in a tough position to handle that penetration from Wade.
Shot clock down to 6. Here's Wade. Had very little room. 23 for Dwayne Wade. Kristich setting the screen. And Kristich's pass picked off. Jason Williams to Udonis Haslam. Kidd for 3. And Carter able to grab it. Jefferson met on a switch by O'Neal. Backs it up. Richard Jefferson. So Richard is now 5 of 10. He has 10 points.
But everything is coming from the perimeter. Miami has rotated beautifully here already in the 3rd quarter. So their focus is still there, and they're forcing New Jersey to take long perimeter shots.
Williams digging. Kristich got a piece of it. O'Neal on the follow.
Jason Kidd calling for a technical. O'Neal did grab the rim with his left hand on the way up for that dunk. He dunked it right-handed, grabbed the rim with his left, but he did it almost simultaneously, so no call made.
Quick hands by Shaq.
Yeah.
Timeout called by the Nets. O'Neal with 15 points. 7 have come here in the 3rd.
Now take a look. O'Neal with the offensive rebound. He goes back up. Kristich on him. Grab the rim.
Yes.
Put it home.
Back in Miami, time for tonight's edition of Steve Wonders. And Steve, I should point out the staff did work on this for hours at the pool yesterday and today.
Yes, all of them sunburned to a crisp, which is a shame. They didn't use sunscreen, but
You are concerned.
It's a whole other issue, Mark. What I'm wondering about tonight, we've got a team, New Jersey, that was swept by Miami a year ago in the playoffs. So my question is, how many teams were swept in the playoffs, then returned a year later to win a series versus the same team? You see that I'm still not sponsored, nor do I have a jingle like Ernie does on Ernie's Nito Stat of the Night, but we'll work on that after we get a sponsor. Here's the answer. 16 teams. Last time was the Pistons in the 04 and 03 seasons. I knew it was either 16 or 17, Marv.
Wait a minute, you're guessing now? Well,
No,
legitimate information.
I was
here.
wondering, but I counted them up in my
see.
head. You know, I have this vast knowledge of NBA history, of useless trivia, and I figured it was 16 or 17. I was close.
Here is Jefferson. So Richard has hit a couple of jumpers here in the third. And Miami now leads 73-50. The Heat with Williams and Wade at the guards. O'Neal on the lob. It's overthrown. Jason Williams off target as Shaq was cutting for the rim.
Second lob play Pat Riley has designed in this second half. I think he knows that New Jersey is trying to extend its defense, maybe play the passing lanes, get some steals. So as a result, they're vulnerable on those backside lobs.
Here's Kristich. Kristich just 2 of 7 from the field. Wade. O'Neal is fouled. Basket will count. He gets the call on the continuation.
Well, it's been a little bit of everything from O'Neal tonight. We saw a couple of different offensive moves, the offensive board and the strong putback there. He's got 17 points, 5 boards. I don't think the numbers, though, really show the impact that he's had on the game because he's been out there for a good portion of the game, which has put so much pressure on this New Jersey defense, and it's helped his teammates find some wide open looks on the perimeter.
Shaq now 3 of 6 at the line. Jefferson rimming out. Williams picked up by Kidd. 25-point Miami lead. It matches their biggest lead of the night. There's Williams open for 3. Rebounded by Wade. Lost the dribble but recovered by Williams. This is a Miami team that won 52 games in the regular season, 52 and 30. Oh, Williams put between the legs and then tried to lead Shaq, but the pass was off the mark. Jason Williams going between the legs. He was out of his days with the Sacramento Kings. Here's Kidd for 3.
That was unbelievable. He didn't finish the play, and Kidd ends up with a 3 at the other end as a result of the turnover. But I don't care. That was fun to watch.
O'Neal with the head fake, and again draws the foul.
Well, Pat Riley might not have liked it, but a lot of fans here at American Airlines Arena did. Look at that, splitting the double team. And he really had the layup. And Williams probably should have gone in and just put the ball up on the board. That's incredible. The ball handling skills of this guy. And he was anticipating Robinson coming over to block the shot. Otherwise, that would have been one for the ages.
3 fouls on Robinson. Now Lamont Murray comes on for Vince Carter. O'Neal is 3 of 7 at the line. Carter has not been able to get going. 3 of 9 from the field, 13 points. And looks like a lane violation.
Surprise, surprise. Or that through the legs move by Williams. That's going to be one of those highlight plays in the end of the season highlight reel for the Heat, where they just cut it off before the final play.
You don't want to see the finish.
No, you just see the beginning, and then they quickly change to something else.
5.5 remaining in the third quarter, so the extra free throw for Shaq, but not able to take advantage. Miami leads 75-53. Good defense again by Miami. Kidd, rebound to Haslam.
You called him, our good defense. So active tonight on that high screen and roll.
Here's Wade, and he draws the foul. Wade to the line. That's number 3 on Jefferson. So the Nets are now over the foul limit. Wade to the line for the first time tonight. National television coverage of the NBA Conference semifinals continues this week. Coming up next, here on TNT, it's game 2 between the Clippers and the Suns. Suns winning game 1 in a shootout. Friday on ESPN. Pair of game 3s featuring the Heat and the Nets, followed by the Suns and Clippers. And then Saturday on ABC, game 3 of the Spurs and the Mavericks. Nets now have Kristich with Robinson and Murray up front. Jefferson and Kidd at the guards. Jefferson. Williams pass broken up by Robinson. Kidd for Jefferson. Oh, beautifully done. Jefferson with a look away to Kristich.
Well, finally a basket in the paint for New Jersey. Miami has done such a nice job of packing it in the lane and reacting. Look at the numbers there, 32-14 in Miami's advantage. That's terrific defense for the Heat.
O'Neal. And he draws the foul. So Shaq with a drop step. He's going at Clifford Robinson, who is listed at 6'10", 240. And obviously overpowering Robinson.
But he's doing it with the pump fake. I think we've seen more moves from O'Neal in one game than we have the entire playoffs. Marvin, he's gotten away from that bowling move that he tries to do, that he's been called on for the offensive fouls. And tonight he's gone pump fake, up and under on the duck in move. He's been very creative. And I think it's changed the entire game for him.
At the line, though, Shaq now 3 of 10, and he has missed his last 5. However, Miami has a 22-point lead. Nets like the matchup. Jefferson going against Wade. Here's Robinson. Air ball by Clifford Robinson. Wade. Haslam getting it to Walker, who is stripped, and Jefferson ahead of the field. And we'll put it down.
Boy, terrible spacing for Miami on that fast break. They kind of had a 4-on-2 situation. Haslam and Walker end up in the same lane. One of them has to run through and clear space for the other one, and ends up in not only a turnover, but a basket at the other end.
And Pat Riley takes a timeout with 3.5 remaining in this third quarter. And for tonight's In the City, presented by Dodge, our all-new 2007 Caliber is cruising through the streets of Miami with a final destination, Steve. American Airlines Arena.
Back at American Airlines Arena, where the Heat lead by 20 points. We're with Nuggets forward Kenyon Martin. Kenyon, you obviously went to 2 finals with this team in New Jersey. What's it like to sit behind their bench and watch them?
It's a little different, man, of course, you know what I'm saying? But I've been watching now for 2 years, so I kind of got used to it a little bit.
Kenyon, the last time we saw you was in the second quarter of Game 2 of your series with the Clippers, and after that, there was a suspension. You didn't play the rest of the playoffs. Can you tell people exactly what you think happened there?
What I think happened, and I just want to play, man. I'm saying it's the playoffs or whatnot. The way I went about it was wrong, me voicing the way that I wanted to play, but I'm saying my emotions got the best of me, but I don't think nobody fault me for wanting to play in the playoffs, man.
There's a lot of questions about your knee and where it is. Where do you think your knee will be by the start of next season?
Oh, by the start of next season, I should be fine, because I was under the impression that the microfracture surgery took closer to 8 months than 18 months, so I'm saying this summer should help me a lot, man, so I'm just going to take it easy, stay off my feet. Just do all I can, man, get myself ready to play next year.
Where will you be playing next year?
I have no idea, man. I'm saying we'll see. Right now I'm a Nugget, so we'll see.
You're going to talk to George Karl the next couple days?
I have no idea, man. I'm saying I haven't spoken to him up to this point, so I don't know, man. I'm saying if it happens, it happens. If not, oh well.
Kenyon, thanks very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the playoffs. Marv, back to you.
All right, thank you, David. Yes, Steve, I'd have to say it remains to be seen what city Kenyon Martin will be in.
Well, it remains
next
to be
year.
seen what's going to happen in Denver, period, Marv. Kiki Vandeweghe, no longer the GM there. They've got to fill that spot. A lot of speculation that perhaps George Karl will step down. He's made no bones about the fact that he'd like to watch his son play his senior year at Boise State. Lamont Murray fouled on the three-point attempt. But a lot of question marks in Denver. Kenyon Martin talking about that microfracture surgery, Marv. If he needs inspiration, look no further than Jason Kidd, who had the same operation a couple of years ago and has responded very well this year.
Foul on Wade, number 3. Gary Payton has come on, as has James Posey. 3 shots for Lamont Murray. If Richard Jefferson would have been sidelined tonight because of that ankle problem, Lawrence Frank said he probably would have started Lamont Murray, who has given the Nets some quality minutes in the second half of the season. Lamont signed as a free agent back in September, averaged about 10 minutes a game. He did play 33 minutes in game 1 on Monday night, started 1 game during the regular season. Veteran from the University of California, his 11th NBA season. Here is O'Neal, rebounded by Robinson. The Nets have actually cut it down to 17. It's the closest they've been since back in the first quarter.
2 minutes.
Just under 2 minutes remaining in the third. A runner by Jefferson. And this is a mirror of what took place on Monday night, where Miami was down by as many as 28. They made a late run. You didn't necessarily believe in that run, but the final score ended up looking a little bit better. Wade on a reverse. And here are the Nets within 15 after trailing by 25. An 11-2 run by the Nets.
I'm not sure if I believe in this run quite yet either, Marv. Long way to go, but you have to expect that they're going to make a move at some point, and here it is.
Shot clock down to 3. Kristich digging, can't find anybody. Now Murray fires. Rebounded by O'Neal.
Such a long game, and we talked about this in game 1. The NBA game takes forever, and when you have a big lead, inevitably there are going to be some letdowns, but you have to continue to defend, take care of the basketball. If you're Miami, you should be in good shape.
Kristich now dealing with O'Neal. Shot clock to 3. Here's Posey. That's a 3 for James Posey, who had the touch from downtown throughout the series against the Bulls.
Yeah, made 14 of 30 3-pointers against Chicago, just 1 of 4 the other night. So that's a welcome shot for Posey. Kristich with the miss.
And Kristich has been off just 3 of 9. Wade draws the foul. Foul on Jefferson.
It's been a great night for Dwayne Wade and also for Shaq, who will leave now in favor of Alonzo Mourning. And we talked about this, the offensive creativity, the pump fake tonight. He was bowling over Collins. Now he's trying to go around him. He's made the adjustment. How about the up and under move? Up and under and then over. But Shaq showing a lot more nimble nature, some nimble. You like that? Nimble nature, the double N. But just being more crafty, more savvy, using the full repertoire rather than just trying to bully his way to the hoop. He's figuring out a way to avoid those offensive fouls. Nice adjustment by O'Neal tonight.
19 points for O'Neal on 8 of 16 from the field. Miami back to a 20-point lead.
Told you I didn't believe in that run.
Best moments of the night for the Nets with that 11-2 spurt. Final seconds of the third. And the foul is called on Mourning as the Kid made the turn. Being blocked for Mourning. It's his third. That's a non-shooting foul. Next foul by Miami puts them over the limit, but just 6.8 to go in the third. The Kid will throw it in. Jefferson draws the double. Kidd shoots the three. Yes. Jason Kidd from downtown with 2 seconds to play in the third quarter. Here's Posey. After three, it's the Heat 84, the Nets 67. Miami looking to tie the series at 1 apiece as they head back to New Jersey for Game 3 on Friday night. Miami up by 17. Shaquille O'Neal with a big third quarter, 11 of his 19 in the third. And for the fourth consecutive year, Shaquille O'Neal and the Miami Heat have teamed up with the American Red Cross and Carnival Cruise Lines to lead the summer-long water safety campaign, Heat Learn to Swim. Steve, as you know, Shaq just a big kid at heart. Shaquille taking a public service announcement to spread the water safety message. Drowning does rank number 1 in fatalities among children under the age of 5 here in the state of Florida. NBA Cares, continuing a tradition of basketball and service to the community.
Tell you what, the league will miss Shaquille O'Neal when he leaves eventually. Hopefully he'll be around for a while. I know he's got 4 years left on that contract, but what a fun-loving guy. A great quote for the press. Walker knocks down the three. But Shaquille O'Neal, one of the most dynamic figures and personalities ever to grace the NBA.
Miami back up by 20. And a 9 of 17 from beyond the three-point line. Great job defensively again by the Heat as they doubled up on Carter. Got the ball out of his hands. Kidd is open for three. Kidd able to chase it down, not able to control, and it's deflected out. Although Kidd is pointing out it was last touched by Miami.
Well, once again, you said it, Marv. The rotation defensively tonight has been so much quicker. Gary Payton ends up all the way underneath the basket to cover up on the 7-foot Kristich. And that's okay. They give up the long three to Kidd. They're willing to live with that. New Jersey, not a great three-point shooting team.
Payton, another three for Miami. It's a 23-point lead. Kristich is fouled, so Kristich fouled in the act. Will go to the line. The last 3 field goals for the Heat have been from beyond that three-point line. They are now 10 of 18 from downtown. Coming up next right here on TNT, it's Game 2 of the Western semifinals, Clippers and Suns, featuring two-time MVP Steve Nash, Sam Cassell, a major figure in the success of the Clippers, followed by Inside the NBA, presented by Hyundai.
It'll be interesting to see how the Clippers approach that game, Marv. I know Mike Dunleavy talked about keeping the score in the 90s, and he said, some of that offensive numbers, some of that is fool's gold when you get going and you score so easily. You see the foul on New Jersey. But when you shoot 59%, you score 123 points, it's tough to take that foot off the gas pedal, but I think the Clippers are going to have to do so and pass up some open looks to run some clock and try to slow down the pace.
A foul on Vince Carter. Yes, a 130-123 final the other day. Wade uncontested. Wade down the lane. Miami now leads 92-68.
Now, we talked about how energetic and active Miami's defense has been. Well, New Jersey's has been non-existent tonight. A totally different story from Game 1. Kristich gets the layup on the nice feed from Kidd. But all that activity that we saw from New Jersey in that opener, not there tonight. And we go back to the halftime guys, Ernie and Magic, talking about the sense of urgency. They were dead on it. No sense of urgency at all for New Jersey.
And Mourning is fouled by Kristich. Alonso will head to the line. Well, Magic and Charles making the point that they feel it's a letdown by the Nets. They felt you have one in the bank. That's all that's expected here. Is it a letdown, or is it the fact that the Miami came out with great intensity, obviously hit their shots?
It's both, but I think the more powerful force is the loss that Miami suffered in game 1. And we saw it with Dallas last night. You see it so often in the playoffs. When you take a loss, and particularly a big one, you come out with such an edge that next time. You're quicker to the ball. You're sharper with your execution. And even if it's just a slight letdown from New Jersey, the combination of that anger from Miami and maybe just easing back a little bit from New Jersey, and that's all it takes. It's a very fine line in the NBA playoffs from playing well and playing very poorly.
Drop ball has come on for Jason Kidd. Jefferson. They swing it. Carter. Nowhere to go. Flipped it back to Vaughn. And Carter is able to put it down.
But look at that defense. I mean, the rotation, everybody flying to the ball and staying in front of their man, keeping the ball out of the paint. New Jersey just very fortunate that Vaughn threw up an air ball, and Carter ends up with the easy 2.
Jacques is saying, no, I'll take the assist.
Yeah.
Here's Payton for 3. Same spot as a moment ago. The 11th three-pointer of the game for Miami. And you can see Lawrence Frank very upset, taking a long walk as the Nets take a timeout. Miami by 25. They match their... Well, this is a Nets franchise that goes back to their days in the ABA, and it was nearly 30 years ago to the day that the final ABA game was played. The New York Nets, led by Julius Erving, beat the Denver Nuggets 112-106. Game 6 of the ABA Championship Series to secure their second league title. The Doctor named MVP of the playoffs. And then the ABA would merge with the NBA for the start of the 76-77 season.
Just can't ever get enough ABA highlights. The red, white, blue ball. I love the Nets jerseys. This version of the Nets occasionally pull out those old school ABA uniforms, but man, everybody loved the ABA.
Well, I think they love it more now than when the ABA actually was in existence. There's a realization of how good many of those players were and did not get the consideration at the time they were playing. And
it was a much faster game. They introduced the three-point line. Teams ran up and down the floor, but there is a certain sense of nostalgia that probably makes the ABA better than what it really was.
Morning is open. Collins had stepped away. He's back on the floor playing with 5, so Alonzo Mourning able to put it down, and Miami now leads 99-72. Biggest lead of the night with 8.5 remaining in the fourth. Now, late third quarter, the Nets with that 11-2 run as Vaughn gets inside. That shot altered by Mourning, who is shaken up. Collins on the follow. And the foul is called on Payton.
Well, Marvin, if there's a bright spot tonight for New Jersey, it's the fact that Richard Jefferson looks pretty good on that ankle. He's going to come out now. I think that's a smart move from Lawrence Frank. But you look at the number, 16 points, 8 of 16 shooting. Nobody really thought he would even play. And yet he's looked pretty active, pretty sharp. First half, I thought he was a little bit tentative going to the basket. But overall, it has to be very encouraging for Lawrence Frank and his team to see how Jefferson has responded tonight.
And he's been on the floor for 36 minutes.
Pretty amazing. Lawrence Frank actually mentioned to us early, you see the foul there on New Jersey. Before the game, Frank said, you know, he responds to injuries better than just about anybody I've ever seen. Said every time you think he's going to be out for a week or two, he bounces right back, got a major threshold for pain and just deals with it, and still as explosive as ever.
Foul on Vaughn. Well, Richard Jefferson last season sat out 49 games with that severe injury to his left wrist. He did make it back for the playoffs. Here's Posey. And Collins and Mourning came together. Mourning over the back of Collins, called for the foul. So the Nets get it back. Let's check in with David Aldridge.
Guys, Richard Jefferson said before the game that one of the main reasons he could come back so well and so quickly is athletic trainer Tim Walsh. He said, Tim's been with me since I came into the league. He knows when I'm BSing him. So Walsh, before the game, really worked that ankle area to see if there was any movement in it, and if Richard could really go on it. And once Walsh was okay with it, Richard was okay with it, guys.
All right, thanks, David. Alonzo Mourning receiving an ovation as he sits down. Picked up a 5th foul just a moment ago. Alonzo playing 10 minutes. Here's Carter. Yes. Mourning with 7 points and 2 rebounds. Did a good job coming on for Shaquille O'Neal, and Shaq is back on the floor. Lead pass for Haslam, and the foul before the shot. It's on Carter.
Obviously, Pat Riley not content with this 23-point lead. Mid-4th quarter, he gets O'Neal back on the floor and just does not want to take any chances.
The Nets with their 4th team foul. O'Neal with Haslam and Posey up front. Here's Wade. Wonderful shot by Dwayne Wade, who has 31 points. He's 12 of 18 from the field. He also has 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Carter with a spin that put Wade on the floor, and Carter is fouled by Haslam.
Well, Marv, one of the problems when you go with a zone against a great player like Dwayne Wade is that you give up driving lanes. You don't have a guy locked into him. You're just in areas, and now you end up with Jason Collins on Wade rather than one of your perimeter defenders. He goes right around Collins, and how about that left-hand finish? Beautiful.
Carter 6 of 6 at the line. The Nets got it down to 15 late in the 3rd quarter with that 11-2 run. Their best spurt by far, their best moments of the night. That's the way it's gone for the Nets. Since then, though, Miami with a decisive edge, including 4 3-pointers. 2 by Payton, 1 by Posey, 1 by Walker. And they now lead at 101-77.
Yeah, the 11-2 run, the best moments of the night. I mean, that's about it. There wasn't anything else to be happy about other than Jefferson coming out and playing. Otherwise, it has been all Miami.
And that is last touch. Apparently, Dan Crawford calling a foul. It is on Wade. That's number 4. And Miami is over the limit. It has been a long night for Rod Thorne. That's president. Obviously, someone just told him a joke.
he's thinking about game 1.
Right exactly. Rod, an All-American guard at West Virginia, following in the footsteps of Jerry West, Hot Rod Hundley. Spent time as player of the NBA, was an All-Star. Coach in both the ABA and the NBA, and has done an excellent job in turning around this Nets franchise.
He was an executive in the league office as well, so Rod Thorne probably knows the NBA better than anybody. And you're right, Marv, he's done a terrific job putting this group together. The trade that brought in Jefferson and Collins, the trade for Vince Carter, trade for Jason Kidd, all just brilliant moves.
Strong move again by O'Neal. Yes, Rod preceded Stu Jackson as the Dean of Discipline.
Yes.
Director of Basketball Operations for the league. Dwayne Wade sitting out, so he leaves with 31. With 6.5 to go in this 4th quarter. Jason Williams coming on for Wade. And the foul is called on Haslam. With Miami over the limit, we will see a parade to the line. Again, it's Carter, who is 9 of 10 at the free throw strike.
Remember the other night, 15 for 19, and that helps New Jersey to maintain that big edge that they built in the first half. But tonight, the free throw totals really don't matter much because Miami raced out to that lead, and for Lawrence Frank, just a long night all the way around. But you know, they're 1-1 going back to New Jersey for game 3, right where they want to be.
The Heat jumped right out, 41 points in the first quarter. That is a Miami franchise playoff record for points in a first quarter. They led by 20 at the half, and they're up here by 22. One of those games that has it really happens has never been in question.
Well, it happened in game one, pretty much, other than the 9-point deficit late for New Jersey, or for Miami, but another easy bucket off of a Shaq feed. And O'Neal has had an all-around excellent game.
Third assist of the game for Shaquille O'Neal, and again, the Nets want to talk.
You play off the big fella inside out. When he's such a threat, it draws the defense, allows the easy lane for Jason Williams.
Starts at the crime scene.
There was someone else in that warehouse.
It ends with Deputy Chief Brenda Johnson.
You tell me the truth about what happened.
Kira Sedgwick returns as the closer. June 12th, the new season begins, only on TNT.
Well, it's amazing how different two games can be involving the same two teams, but tonight has been a dramatic turnaround for Miami and Pat Riley. Look at the numbers. Game one, the Heat shooting 39%, allowing 24 points off turnovers for New Jersey, and pretty much the opposite tonight. 54% shooting. They've taken good care of the basketball. They've outscored the Nets in points off of turnovers, so this is exactly what Pat Riley had planned in his pregame speech with his team, and more than anything, they were just ready to play. Very sharp.
Nets have made changes. Scott Padgett has come on, as has the rookie Antoine Wright. John Thomas. Michael Doliak in for Shaquille O'Neal. Shot clock down to 2, down to 1. Vaughn. And deflected out. They say jump ball, so a tie-up before that ball landed out of bounds. And we will check in with Ernie Johnson back in our Atlanta studios. Ernie? Thank you, Ernie. 5.5 remaining in this fourth quarter. Miami on the verge of evening the series at 1. Here's Antoine Wright. Wright, the number 1 draft pick of the Nets out of Texas A&M, appeared in 39 games during the regular season, working his way into the rotation in the second half of the year. Miami going with Jason Williams and Gary Payton in the backcourt, with Michael Doliak, Udonis Haslem, James Posey on the front line. Shot clock down to 3, and a palming violation called on Williams.
Well, how about the night Shaq has had, Marv's getting a well-deserved rest here. He'll be out for the rest of the evening, but look at that, 0 turnovers, so efficient. First time without any turnovers in 39 playoff games. He had 4 the other night in game 1, and I thought he set the tone early with his post play, not only scoring, but just being patient, finding open shooters out of the double team.
Scott Padgett fouled on that putback attempt. Fouled on Posey. Shaquille O'Neal with 21 points, 13 of the 21 coming in the second half.
I think the big thing for Shaq, Marv, is he doesn't have to have those monster games like he used to with the Lakers in Orlando, the 35 and 20 games, because he's got that guy right next to him, Dwayne Wade, who is so capable of taking over the offense. 31 points for Wade tonight, 12 of 19 shooting. But when there's efficiency for Miami offensively, then everybody gets involved. You get Gary Payton knocking down threes, and Udonis Haslem will get some open jumpers. Jason Williams has 12 points tonight. So it's a case of just being efficient, and you let Wade take over. And for Shaq, just be dominant. You don't have to completely control the game with your statistics, but control it with your presence.
Both teams working the ball on these last couple of possessions. Here's the rookie Wayne Simeon, who just came on, coming up short. And a foul is called. It's a loose ball foul on Posey. So the Nets go back to the line. Wayne Simeon, first round draft pick out of Kansas. The Big 12 Conference Player of the Year. Averaged 15 and 8 last season. Miami very high on this first-year player.
Yeah, he's had some good moments here in Miami. A guy who very fundamentally sound. They are not afraid to play him. He had a lot of experience at Kansas and has a very bright future. And meanwhile, Marv, the guy at the line you mentioned, Lamont Murray, earlier played with Jason Kidd for a couple of seasons back at Cal. And, I was thinking that, boy, that's quite a combination. They must have won a couple of Pac-10 titles. I thought they did, so I looked it up. And it turns out they actually didn't.
And who would have won the titles those years?
It was, it was Arizona,
yeah,
as a matter of fact. And, in fact, this guy, look at the symmetry, Marv, the symmetry. This guy, David Stoudemire,
are you directing?
Led the Wildcats to 2 straight Pac-10 titles over Murray and Kidd.
This is so sad. Now look at the series schedule. The Nets winning game 1, 100-88. Second straight blowout here. We hope things get a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, well, they should. I mean, once a series is tied at 1 apiece, then you think, all right, it's going to get competitive, and it becomes a series. I would expect an excellent Game 3 and a long series. You look at that schedule that we had on the screen. Every other night, the games are played until Game 6. So can Shaq bounce back and have another nice effort? Posey is fouled on his way to the hoop. But to this point in the playoffs, it's been sort of every other game, maybe once every 3 games for O'Neal. But for them to really go deep in the playoffs, he's got to become much more consistent.
Foul on Padgett, sending Posey to the line with just under 4 left in this fourth quarter, and Miami up by 21. They got right to it at the start. A 41-point first quarter. Led the Nets 41-19 after 1. They've led by as many as 27. The largest loss by the Nets, widest margin of defeat in playoff history, is 23 points. And that occurred twice back in 2002. And as it turns out, that was also the year that the Nets went to the NBA Finals.
So the drama during these last 3 minutes or so becomes, can they hold on to that record, or will they break it? And I, for one, am on the edge of my seat.
I can feel it. Here's Vaughn with a skip dribble. Crowd looking for a traveling violation. So they'll play Game 3 at Continental Airlines Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey on Friday night, and then Game 4 Sunday afternoon in New Jersey. Here's Goliak open.
And I would suspect, Marv, that the games are going to slow down a little bit. They usually do once you get involved in a series and both teams have a win. Everybody gets a little more conservative, but the Nets, they want to run off turnovers, but they don't really want to run all the time. They want to get that half-court defense set up, and it was Miami that took control in transition tonight. So I look for both teams to tighten things up a little bit and have a much lower scoring game in Game 3.
That was deflected out by Miami, and a timeout taken with just under 3 minutes to go. Miami time for the Lamisil AT step-up play of the game.
Oh, terrific execution from Miami all night. You see the floor spread, and then Wade on the penetration feeds the U-Dominator, as Miami broadcaster Eric Reed likes to refer to him. But that's the kind of night it's been, Marv. 37 baskets, 21 assists, 52% field goal shooting, and just 10 turnovers. So that's the story of the game for Miami.
And Miami set the tone early. They had a 16-0 run right at the start in the first quarter. They led at one point 25-4. That was 6 minutes into the game. And Dwayne Wade with 3 threes all in the first quarter. Lamont Murray hits from downtown. Wade with 31 points, Shaq with 21, Haslam 11 points, and 10 rebounds. Coming up on 2.5 to play in this fourth quarter, Miami with a 107-87 lead. And let's turn it over to Ernie Johnson back in Atlanta. Thank you, Ernie. A beautiful move by Jason Williams. So the Heat now leads 109-87 as we come up on 2 minutes to play. Paget looking for the three. Gives it to Planinic. Zoran Planinic coming on for the first time. Here's Planinic. And an offensive foul call.
Even in les minutes de garbage, as you like to refer to them, Marv, Miami continuing to slide their feet defensively, help on penetration, react. So it's been a total effort by Miami tonight.
Simeon tried to set a screen. And Simeon working on Paget. Broken up by Planinic. Planinic with the steal. All the net starters have been sitting the last few moments. This one has been out of hand since early on. Nevertheless, an outstanding job technically. Our producer, Scooter Bettino, director Renardo Lowe, associate director Tom Heitz, our production assistants Darryl Bernardo and Wayne Puddleman, and our statistician Paul Evans.
And Marvin, if you don't mind me mentioning, the audio tonight has been terrific. Victor Victoria doing his usual tremendous job.
Is there cash payment involved here?
You never mentioned Vic.
He's
our guy. Throw his name out there once in a while.
Let's run down the entire crew now. Goliath from Williams. So those remaining here at American Airlines Arena on their feet, cheering the Miami Heat as they even up this series at 1 and look to games 3 and 4 in New Jersey. This has been one of those unusual, consistent blowouts. Nets never in it. It's been all Miami as Paget puts it down, and that will wrap it. Miami shoots 53% from the field, 11 from downtown, 11 of 20 from beyond the three-point line.
And the drama is over, Marv. A 22-point defeat, so they don't break that record of 23. So a lot of these fans hanging around just to see whether that would happen. They go home disappointed.
Yes, you refer to the largest loss by the Nets in playoff history, which happened twice back in 2002. Let's go to David Aldridge with Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaq, it looked like you were doing something different out there tonight. What was going on?
The other night, we just, gave one away. It happens like that sometime in the playoffs. Not supposed to happen like that when you have home court advantage, but been in this situation before. Me and Dwayne, we came here late last night. We were shooting. We were talking about it. I told him that I've been in a situation many times where, you lose a game at home. But, the real playoff starts now. It's one apiece. Now we just have to go to their place, which is a very hostile place, where you have to get one and get two.
Were you doing anything different? Were you taking your time more, not being quite as aggressive, kind of doing some more of the finesse stuff?
I was trying to go to a little bit of finesse. I really didn't want to go to my power game. I'm not really allowed to go to my power game right now, so hopefully, they'll let me, play my game, in a few more games. But I'm going to just, be smart and just try to stay out of foul trouble. Tonight was the first time I actually committed 2 fouls.
Shaq, thanks very much. We'll see you in New Jersey. Let's go back tomorrow.
All right, thank you, David. In fact, Shaq, born in Newark, still has family and many friends in the New Jersey area. 21 points for Shaquille O'Neal, committing only 2 fouls, and Dwayne Wade led the way with 31. Again, the final score, Miami 111, And New Jersey 89 coming up next following a quick break. Game 2 between the Clippers and the Suns as we shift to the Western Conference semifinal series. For David Aldridge, Steve Kerr, and our entire crew, I'm Marv Albert saying good night from Miami. You're watching TNT, the exclusive home of the 2006 Western Conference Finals.